Ahead tonight, the Prime Minister touting the benefits of a national development plan. And NEMA progressing in its hurricane restoration efforts. The Bahamas Tonight, the weekend edition, starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Everyday.
Good Saturday evening, all. I'm Sia Skyerly, and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the weekend edition. Thanks so much for joining us. The government looking to maximize efficiency and creativity as it creates the 25-year National Development Plan for the country. Minister of Finance, Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie discussed the challenges the archipelago faces and the need to address critical issues when he recently met with South Africa's foreign minister. Clint Watson reports tonight that Prime Minister Perry Christie and his National Development Plan team expressed a growing interest in adapting best practices from South Africa.
One of the main areas Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie is hoping the National Development Plan will address is youth unemployment.
That our young people are in a category where too many of them cannot find work. And the challenge for us, as you've indicated when you spoke, you cannot continue to tell people, hold on, it's coming. That expectation of people to have some level of satisfaction in their own lives is a very legitimate expectation.
Speaking to the Deputy South African Foreign Minister who visited his office for a courtesy call, Mr. Christie says the plan will bring a united approach to certain issues. State Investments Minister Kayla's Roll also noted that the National Development Plan is looking at best practices from South Africa that it can adopt.
Where when one government changed, the next government would not slip into changing things simply because their predecessors did it. And that we would all buy into the oneness of the plan.
There are some things that we noticed that you are doing that we are using as a model. The Prime Minister spoke about this National Development Plan. We know you face some of the same challenges that we face, and the approach to resolving many of those challenges can only be done through a comprehensive and integrated plan. And we looked at what South Africa is doing with its National Development Plan.
Dr. Nicola Virgil Roll, who leads the plan, spoke about the three-phased approach to development. She also pointed out key issues that the plan hopes to address.
The whole issue of accountability, transparency, public sector effectiveness must be looked at. So we use the widest possible definition of how can the government improve, and how do we ensure that persons leaving school and entering the workforce have the skills necessary to succeed. We look at health and healthcare, and the Bahamas is, of course, one of the most vulnerable countries to climate change. And so that issue becomes particularly important as we see increasingly more powerful storms.
South Africa's Deputy Foreign Minister Llewellyn Landers says the focus on the youth is a main concern with their nation.
The challenge we face is to overcome them, but at the same time meet the aspirations and needs of our people today. And we're talking about the youth in particular.
Landers committed to working with the Bahamas as we develop our national plan, an offer Prime Minister Christie immediately sanctioned. Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Clint. Utilities almost fully restored on the central and southern islands affected by Hurricane Joaquin last month. The National Emergency Management Agency confirming that Bahamas Telecommunications Company cell sites have been restored on most of the affected islands except from Gordon's to Mortimer's in Long Island and in Majors Key and Pittstown, Crooked Island. The Bahamas Electricity Corporation has restored power in Rum Key, San Salvador, Acklins, Long Key, Rum Key, and San Salvador. However, only 84% of Long Islanders have electricity. BEC officials acknowledge challenges challenges at the southern end of Long Island due to extensive damage to its distribution network. BEC emphasizes that restoration in Crooked Island will take some time as a complete rebuild of the generation and distribution networks is needed there. Meanwhile, the Department of Environmental Health is working with local government officials to clean up and monitor mold in the affected islands, which is estimated to take another 2 months to complete. The National Emergency Management Agency's rebuilding program continues to focus on the thousands of homes, churches, and other buildings either damaged or destroyed in the central and southern Bahamas. Despite more than $1.7 million being pledged, NEMA's director, Captain Stephen Russell, says building supplies are a priority because the intent is to get the affected residents back into their homes as quickly as possible.
80 to 90% of the homes received major damages or destroyed. So we're trying to get them. Likewise, Long Island persons' homes were flooded, Acklands, Crooked Island, Rumkins, and Salvador. So we're trying to get building material as much as we can to continue with our repair and eventually our reconstruction program. We want to get people back into the home. So building material, roofing material, windows, doors, those are the things that we're really making appeal for this time for persons who have a desire to make donations.
Long Islanders are still trying to recover from the hurricane's devastation. Member of Parliament for that island, Loretta Butler Turner, says her constituents are resilient and remain optimistic.
There's a lot of work to do, but we're very optimistic that we take one day at a time and we're going to get there. And through NEMA and, of course, donors and the government and private donors, we believe that we're going to get there. And we're very grateful for everyone.
During a press conference earlier this week, Bishop of the Anglican Diocese of the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos Islands, the Right Reverend Laish Boyd, addressed how hurricane relief efforts have impacted his church. Bishop Boyd commended not only the government, but the private sector for its response in assisting those residents who were affected by the storm. The Anglican bishop said since the hurricane, he and his team have been on the ground in the affected islands several times.
There is a group that was put together integrally by our own Archdeacon Keith Cartwright and others, and that community volunteer private sector group was the largest relief effort mounted. That group was quick in its response, it was coordinated, covered all the areas, and sustained its relief for many, many weeks.
Director of the Anglican Central Education Authority, Italia Davies, said the church has assisted in placing more than 50 students affected by the storm into the Anglican education system free of charge.
Thus far, we placed a total of 51 students in our schools, 7 at St. Anne's School, 41 at St. John's College, and 3 at St. Andrew's School. The students came to us from 4 of the affected islands. We had 10 from San Salvador, 1 from Acklands, 18 from Crooked Island, and 22 from Long Island. Their ages range from 4 through 17 years, and we have students in all of our grade levels from pre-K through to grade 12. The bishop was gracious enough to extend this offer to the students straight through to the year June 2016. We received assistance from Generali Worldwide Insurance, who partnered with us and assisted the students with getting uniforms, books, bags, and underwear. And we are also grateful to the proprietors of Shane's and Lorraine's, who also assisted with getting uniforms.
A new police department on the way for the College of the Bahamas. That and more when the Bahamas Tonight, the weekend edition, continues.